Hey, how we doing today? And welcome to Black Face, White Face. And who am I? I'm Mr. Magazine. I'm the only one that's going to get that black and gold together and explain the unexplainable. That's which many people have tried. You had many people who were giving pieces of information, and with this information, what they have done has gathered the people for my coming. It's as simple as John heralding in the bloodline and generations of the chosen people who were called, from that point of view, Israelites or Israel or Jacobites and many other biblical names and translations. I am Sheikh Elohim. I have been on the planet since and before its creation in many forms. I am formless, and I choose to pick who I want to deal with as far as getting the message across, as far as being the host of the planet. And we have chosen one species and one species only forever, and that is the species of the human being that procreates. We call her the WOMBMAN. We call her We left her with the sound of the vibration of the continuous movement of this planet and those planets that gather around the nucleus, which we put as the source, which is called Shamsa, or the sun. And in this healing ministry that we have today, as we continue to heal those who gathered in the spot of what they call the new world, and you had the old world and the new world. In the new world, there was a land bridge, which is called the Bering Strait, and many other names that's coming from China and Mongolia, and came across to what we call Alaska, through Canada, and down through Canada to Washington State, which is now considered to be connected to what they call the separation of the cage, as is written in biblical terms as the cage, or the evil cage, or the states of the United States of America. Inca is a sovereign tribe. It's like you have Seneca, you have Inca, you have Iroquois, you have Cherokee, Seminole, Chickasaw, and more on this. You have different states that was taken and utilized through what we would call the Constitution. This Constitution was already in effect, and they just tweeted it up for their better interest. But the Constitution was given by and shared by the Iroquois League, and the Iroquois League was those that Ben Franklin and the founders of the Constitution took and utilized that in agreement with those who were called the love of the planet, who maintained and navigated the seven seas. So therefore, what we're doing now, we're doing a process of healing not only America, but America has influence all over the world. It's a difference between the world and the globe. The world is WORLD, which means to lead into war, the fight. It's a system of the animalistic ways which man is to evolve out of. and he uses his ability to kill, to hurt, instead of war no more, and thou shalt not kill. So now we're at another reality where the mind is the source and power, you see, that is giving to those who can connect with the mind. The mind is not located in the body. The mind is in what we call the mental plane. And there's a reason for that, because they will be able to steal the mind if the mind was located in the individual body. Now, each individual is also a part of the collective. So that means that all of you collectively is not inside the body. The body is a vehicle that is used to take you around the planet Earth. With that being said, right there, right, what is happening, I'm going to review the things that's going to connect this here between the what they would call white and what they would call black. And these names, white and black, was used by the political system. I'm pointing at the flag right now. It's used for the political system. Political system is a system of control. The word control is continual rule. It's two words, continue and roll as a circle or rule in a cipher. Now the cipher is the circle. When you say sir and kill, they use these two names in the symbol of the circle or the cipher to remind them, but they have forgotten because they forgot who put this together. See, the Elohim chose certain people. Like when you see that they chose Esther to bring in John, who John was going to bring in Emmanuel, which they call Jesus. Some people say it was Zeus. You know, all these terminations apply to the individual who wrote it, or the particular scribe, and their time by their frequency of what was going on and their determination to rule. Just like when we're talking about a system of control and we're talking about politicians, people skipped over the fact of the origin of the word politicians. And politicians, the origin rooted in policy, also rooted in poly, which is more than one. So it's when you talk about the policies of the politicians and you talk about the controlling of the people, they had to split it between the original or the origin and make something opposing, something that was in need of the origin, and then made it the recessive. You see, this was the dominant, this was the recessive. So what happens is they take the recessive, which is considered to be, in the biblical terms, in the writings of the Levites, who were the administrators of the word as they ventured out of Egypt and went into the land of Canaan. And it is told in the books of Leviticus, the 13th and the 14th chapter, that you will come upon a people that's been hit with a chemical imbalance. And the imbalance is called leproma or leprosy. This leprosy is two types of leprosy. One, when it's an outburst of germs, where the body becomes a host for other germs and bacteria, and this host spreads the disease to others. Now, when I go fast like that and say and spread the disease, okay, the word spread is basit, right? It's the spreader. And that spreader is contained to the Most High. And the Most High is two types of Most High. they say Allah is Akbar, and then they say Allahu subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see? So it's different understandings of this order. Just like when you say El, and then you say Elo, then you say Elohim. El is the source. This source is generated by what we call the etheric form or etheric gases. That word gases, G-A-S-E-S, and Jesus, G-E-S-U-S, is the same word, but it's pronounced different. We're getting back to the policies of the dominant and the recessive, taking the recessive and making the recessive dominant by way of what they call programming and what they call oppression. They oppress this. Oppress is the same as depress, made it smaller and thought and mental in the programming because the programming wasn't continued. They had stopped the programming through killing off and separating the force of what they call unity. The word unity is one tie. When you tie one thing together. So when you have a tribe, you have TRI, which is tribe, and BE. So you have three. Tri represents three, like triangle. And BE is the presence of something. So when you tie these three in, you now, as far as tribal, you're tying in the mother, the father, and what they call the children. But the children now, as we're teaching as so right this second, is not a good word, but the word is duplication. We must take ourselves out of the teachings and programming of those who program to be others to be servants to them. And this was done in the processing center that you call now schools, that you readily, without any type of resistance, give your duplication to those who program them to hate one another and to not understand their full potential. So you had this here, this was done, and the basics of taking the recessive, those who needed the help of the dominant. The dominant was chosen by the Elohim, which is we, which is me. I am an Elohim. I am an Elo, and I recognize the force that I am in my formless state, which is a gaseous state to those who will be able to see, but I go beyond the gases of etheric into what we call the unknown, or in the realm of the minus, M-I-N-U-S. So you go from 0 or 1, having something 0, which is the neutral, and then you go to -1, -2, -3, all the way up to what we call 99 or 9, which is the highest power, but we continue in different frequencies of that less than, or something that can be seen, or something that can be seen by the naked eye, or something that can be seen by the aid of instruments. Okay, so now we got the recessive people, we got the dominant people, right? So these recessive people was sent over to America, and they were considered to be immigrants. You have a difference between immigrants and migration. Migration is the natural wave of the ecosystem where people travel all over the world. Now you had the two worlds. You had the old world, which they claim the name, and people take this name, which is absolutely wrong, Because if you say the wrong name, you in the wrong lane. If you in the wrong lane, you're not even a part of the process of being in the right game. Now, the word game is from the word jamming. And you can ask those that you know that have different languages. The word jamming means to come together. So if you can't come together with the right informed action, which they call information, then you will not be able to proceed. Proceed to continue and proceed to accept and to come up within yourself as an individual and not be oppressed. Okay, so you have those. This here, you will see the takeover of the blue eyes and the blonde hair. The blue eyes represent the clear eyes and the reflection of the sky from hitting the water, which is blue. That's why at times you'll see people who have blue eyes or gray eyes, depending on the position of Shamsa. Shamsa is the sun. The position of the sun, which they say time. The way they say time is for timing to the calendar. The calendar is the billing system used to control the economy or control the energy of those who are being controlled or ruled, which is now called citizens or people. So you have a system of taking this energy, right, that is considered to be a host, a magnet for germs and virus and colds, whooping cough, syphilis, all kind of stuff. It was so bad at one time that we called it pus C, or see the pus that comes between their legs. The legs, between the woman's legs, is what we call the gateway of ushering in new life. The womb is considered to be how she creates, because that's what she was given. She was given the ability to procreate, continue creation. After the fact of the angelic realms, which they call angels today, but prior to that, they were called Elohim, and that was just a title. Then their specific jobs that they was doing, they were engineers and they were scientists, considered to be, now they call physicians or doctors, but they wasn't physicians or doctors because they actually were scientists, engineers, and they were dealing with biotechnology. They were dealing with stem cell research and genes, dealing with the DNA, the RNA, and creating, right, in different entities. And that's what Earth was about. Earth was a reservation, reserved, right, station, right, for those that travel throughout the galaxy. Now, this type of thinking is not in the programming of school. So now, they took this and they call Hitler, right, or Adolf, right? And we'll go into those names later. But this whole thing was orchestrated by Germany. Now, Germany was divided in the north and the west, east and west. So when you talk about Germany, you hear that word and you just skip along, and then you want to know. But no, Germany means many germs. And that was what that area that was roped off, or was roped off, right, which they call Europe, right, was roped off, right? And these people continue to try to help themselves and heal themselves. Now they had other people, what they call Rasuls, or they call prophets, which one was Abraham, who came and helped by having the manual from the Levites and explain it to them, and using what they will call, they call it today rabbi or rabboni, but before that they call them high priest. And the high priest was the one that would do the inspection and let them know what they need to do and what medical or natural herb, root, tree, juice from the earth, from the trees, the leaves, the bark, all this they would take and give it to them for application, for ingestion. The high priest and the high priestess. Okay, today you call them doctors because of the 24-hour period in the day that divided into 8 shifts would give people more clarity to do the automatic system of the Ford Foundation and their production with cars. So they introduced 8 hours a day. And after that, they would call it overtime, right? And that same time, TIME, was to tie me into the system of control, which they call today calendar, okay? Which is 30 days or 31 days or even 28 days, right? You know, for the circumference of the earth around the sun, right? As far as the year is concerned for the 4 seasons, okay? So you had Hitler, who had help from the United States to what they call gene cleansing, to take these many germs and put it together in a system which is called eugenics. This eugenics, right, was testing, and the eugenics went far as to the mental, what they call mental institutions, right? What they call people crazy. And this institution was led by the processing center, and those who were over it was dealing with the nurses and sociology. Sociology is the study of what was going on, but it was the health. See, health in any society is the first rule because of the widespread germs. So health, that's the first thing. So the mental health of taking those people that had many germs and cleansing their seed and training them so they would be the new overseers, because these people didn't understand why they were chosen or what happened and why they were in this condition called leprosy. So by raising these people up, these people, they had to have a scheme, a plan to decrease them. And it's called oppression, to oppress, oppress. It's as simple as that. O is the original, and press them so they will be depressed, so they will be off balance, so they would not understand what to do. So within that, they had a program with their writers, okay? Now, to orchestrate all of this, these people who were in need of help by these people who were melanated and taught properly, right? These people here were being used, and this is where on the chessboard you see your pawns. This whole group of people, indentured servants, those people who take a title in the business, the word business is busy in sin. The word business is busy in sin. If you look at the words, the letters, it's busy in sin. So these people, what happened was, these people got cut in half. You got some doing right, some doing wrong. Those who was doing right was the one that got oppressed. Those who was doing wrong, they said, well, look, if I get these people to think that they better than the original people, which is mathematically impossible because of the density of the bone, because of the size of the brain. See, it's impossible. Only if they're in their wrong environment, if their surroundings, if they can't understand what to do. So these people here, they split in half, and they started. That's where you get the first, what they would call black on black crime. Black on black crime, and it started with those of the ruling gender. These people was in need. These people was in what they call the caves of Europe. You can go to the last book, which is called the Holy Quran, by the prophet of Israelite, which is called Ahmed, later to be called Muhammad, and you will see that in that cave, it speaks about these people and their condition. And that was between Russia and India and what they call the Caucasus Mountains. And this is why this location was hid for so many years, between the West and East Berlin, right? So, or they call it Germany. That's they use that one Germany and say, well, this was Germany. No, Germany was that whole area, that whole cold area was considered to be Germany right there. Okay, so now you got the ruling people, right, that was given the ability to do this by the Elohim that they forgot about. They forgot that the Elohim was here. You see, they try to dismiss that, and they try to take all those who was believing or faithful, right, in what they call their higher power, which they call, they took all the information, they killed their parents, and now they want to teach these children and program these children through what they call a kind of garden, right? Just like the garden in Eden. The garden in Eden, or the garden where they speak about Adam and Eve, right? So you had these people, original, then you have these people, and that's in Leviticus 13th chapter, 13 and 14th chapter. It'll tell you about these people and what happened and their condition and how these people was helping these people. Okay, so this is the face-to-face. I'm Mr. Magazine. I'm putting it down like you never heard it before. I want to give a big shout out to those who continued and those who graduated for what they took an oath to. It wasn't a long journey. We're in a new world right now, a whole brand new world, and it was also taught that this world, and it would be a different state of mind. You see, where these people here, they're going to get along because they Lulu, Amanu, or primitive workers for the Elohim. You see, and that's why when you see people looking like me, who were mentally giving inspiration to do things that was out of the box. The box is considered to be when the original or the cipher is turned inside out. The circle is turned inside out and made into a box. And the box has 4 squares. And these squares, they put people in. And they stand over the square looking down in the box. thinking that they the squires. This terminology, word squire, was given by the Magna Carta by the kings. Now, when we talk about melanation, we talk about the vision of the original people, and we're talking about the original people is melanated. That's when it gets a little tricky. And this trickiness is called tricknology. Tricknology is the way they trick people through art, through writings, through sculptures, and what you call planning cities, the environment, you know, just location, environment, the buildings, you know, it's everything. We're gonna go through all of that, but this is basically just to let you know that the real is the real, and those people who took religion and then they want to judge people for that which they did not know. And they say, well, you're not doing it like this. I think it should be like that. No. Okay, first of all, you're wrong for that. So basically, I took the get your behind in the end of the line. I took the sign down, but I'm gonna get it. This is the sign. And I say, get your ass in the end of the line and learn what you need to do. Because the things that you're doing, you're wrong for that. There's no way that you're going to get out of this situation by those who are programmed, your so-called leaders, who are programmed, right, to destroy themselves, and they never had the information, informed action by the host of the planet, not the women that was given the ability to host the planet and to take care of that which they create in their womb, both what they call men and women. Now, this is it. Representing the black and gold. You see the black and gold. Wearing the crown. Put it down properly. It's gonna get better. A big shout out to whoever said jiggy with it. A big shout out to all the people on the other side. And that's the buffer. You got those who religious, and then those knew something wasn't right with that, and they was the buffer down their head. Now, this whole side right here, you're gonna cut that. Now we got a brand new way. Now we dealing with this, but we done took this and this, right? Both sides. And now we done disengaged. We done disengaged from all the stuff you're talking about. We're gonna do a review, and that's why I'm here, right? We're gonna do a review on Mr. Magazine, and it's the only magazine that you can leave a message down there, write something, ask the question, and I will explain it to you. Big shout out to 216, which was the basis of me coming back after I did. It's like, you know, with the angels, we do more tours than one. You see? And sometimes you have to leave that body because the body's burnt out. I had the ability to take the body and meet good people. You see, my fighting family, my spiritual family, as far as them, I'm looking at them and saying, look, what are you doing? What are you saying? That's only a way for you to remember. That's not for you to walk that path, because that path is not right. You see, just like people say, well, you know, I'm this or I'm that. But if you this or that and you know that, why are you not pursuing that? Why are you being deterred? Now, we know about the parents. Most parents today, the new parents, okay? I'm not giving no ages, but the grandparents and the great-grandparents Some are still here. They didn't know. They didn't have a clue. They was clueless. So the parents had an opportunity to learn by those who said, we ain't taking it no more. We're gonna do this. Okay, now some started and a lot stopped in mid-range. They said, oh, I gotta run back to those who are clueless. So they started running back to those who are clueless. Okay, cool. So now you have, they had children. Now the grandparents didn't know. The parents are clueless. Now the new children, right? They really don't know. So we call them dumb. And these people had opportunity, right? They clueless now. They started, they stopped, and they didn't continue. They didn't do the full cycle. You have to do the full cycle. Go around. Then we go around one time. You start, go around one time. You got to do double stitch. Have double, triple stitch. And then triple stitch, you got a little something to work with. That's not going to break apart. So different generations, the Elohim is watching. We give you information, we telling you what to do. You know, you're in a bad environment. So how do you get out of that? You come together as a unit, as one. And you come together as a force. Then you got it. But when you, as an individual, is trying to be an individual, you don't know the ways to do it in the environment that you're in. You're not in the right environment for that. So you got the parents that didn't know, the children that tried to learn, but information was there, and then they didn't do it. Then you got their children is dumb and dumb, and then the grandchildren, the great grandchildren they're clueless. They're not here. So what we did, we said, okay, you can have all that. If you got children, that's the wrong terminology. So if you have duplicates, we can work with that. If you teach your child to work with somebody else, you can go that way. That's what you call a reaper. I'm considered to be like a reaper. I'm gonna let you know. I'm Mr. Magazine. And the reason I say Mr. Magazine, I had to ask the Queen, big shout out to the Queen. I asked the Queen, I said, look, what name should I give these people? I've been around the world. I did so much stuff. What Mr. Magazine? And the live magazine. The magazine that you can talk to, you can ask questions to. You see, so this is volume 1, Mr. Magazine. I'll put it down, show you about the lepers, leproma, albinos. Then we talk about the original people that was melanated, and those original people got to the point where they split themselves. Those take advantage of the other, the first black on black crime. And then these black people was in a high position. It was already ruling the world, right? But they didn't understand that they got their knowledge from what they call rulers of the earth. And now the rulers of the sky is here. And I'm part of the team ruler of the sky, Elohim Supreme Team, you know. And basically what we did, we didn't interfere with the formation of man coming to earth, right, and growing. We didn't do that. What we did, and what we still continue to do, we snatch bodies. And snatching bodies by way of what we call descending. We descend into the body. You see, through this crown chakra, because see, the body is not the person. The person is the personification of the spirit. You see, okay, which is actually, they break it down as the soul. And the spirit and the soul is two different things. But the whole thing is that we said, okay, Inky, That's what the way you did it. Fine. You know you wouldn't did it. You shouldn't have did it like that. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna send the chosen, and we're gonna go into them directly. Okay. My name is Derek. Directly came here, right? Was chosen to do the will of what we call the higher power, or they call the Most High. Most High is different than the higher power, because you can be the Most High to someone, but you're not gonna be the higher power. You see. So we got the original people, then the original people split up, something happened, Leviticus 13, 14th chapter, read it, and then here these people was being helped, right? Now they try to exalt these people, use these people as pawns on the board by these people who was always ruling. Women never lost their position on the planet Earth. They just was able to deceive their children. And in deceiving their children tried to trap them off, which they did, and put them in the house. The word house, H-O-U-S-E, is the hoe being used. The word house is the hoe being used. The word home is the hoe, right? M-E, right? H-O-M-E, right? The word host is word for hostage. So she's the host of the house. She's the hostage put into a placement, taken out of her natural environment, put in a city, a state, a suburb, you see, where she controls nothing but her mouth because she didn't listen. She didn't listen to the Elohim. So what we have to do now is understand what's going on. It's a brief thing. This is Mr. Magazine, first edition. I said peace to all of y'all, and I'll get you on the second time coming.